sorry, it's not just for one person, a number of people answering in inbox around a specific subject, like summer projects or donation services or one card. And things like that. Now, some of you have email addresses that you are probably hear about that are more in the nature of, it's a specific email address that's easy for people to remember to email about a certain thing. Maybe it's about a tool like Solarium at cru.org, and so people that want to learn about Solarium can email that address. But there's only one person checking it. That always goes to the same person. If that's the case, then probably you're going to want to end up creating an email alias. And so basically those emails will just come to you, and we can actually set it up so that you can also send from that email address just right out of your own inbox. And so that's going to be an option. And if that's kind of the case that you're in, collaborative inboxes probably aren't necessarily going to be your favorite solution. So you might want to continue to watch just so that you know. But just there has been some confusion on that. For everybody else, basically what's happening with shared inboxes is that anyone whose inbox did not move over last weekend as a shared inbox, so not your personal email, but these other email addresses, we're going through a process to determine what the best way to move those inboxes over are. And the way that we're going through that process is we've sent out a survey to each of those inboxes, and we're asking you to respond to that survey. So if you haven't already, please respond. If you have already responded, but after attending this class, you feel like, oh, now I understand it better and I have a different response, you can just go back in and you can add the same response, or you can take the survey again, and so then we'll know what you want to do with it. So I'm going to talk a lot more at the end of this class about the process of moving shared inboxes and what each one will mean, and answer your questions about that. So what I want to ask you to do for the first part of this class is just to put all the questions about moving on hold, and just let's look at how to use a collaborative inbox and what it is that a collaborative inbox is, and then like I said, how to use it. And so that is what I'm going to have us do first. So a collaborative inbox, like I said, is a type of Google group. There's actually 4 different types of Google groups. One of them is a Google group forum. And so the Google group forum is really similar to what many of you might seen as this guides at cru.org group. So I'm going to go to this group. And if you have, as soon as you're moved over into Google, you will have access to this group. But basically, it's just a place where people can come in and they can post their questions, and then other users can answer their questions and help them. And so, you'll see down here, there's just hundreds and hundreds of questions. You can, search a topic and you can find out, different answers that people have asked. And so this is a really helpful group, but this is not the kind of group we're talking about. Another kind of group that you will see is a distribution list. And so here I am on I'm on non-NCO Orlando staff distribution list. And so basically this works just like a distribution list worked in Outlook. And so this is another type of group, but again, that's not the type of group we're talking about today. The type of group we're talking about today is a collaborative inbox. And a collaborative inbox is designed so that people can work together within one email inbox in a way that allows you to really set up that inbox to be able to know what each other's doing, to not trip over each other, to assign things to certain people, and to basically be able to have a number of people working in a group to answer questions. So I'm going to start out by showing you a collaborative inbox that I am just a member of. And so I'm going to come over here, and the way that I get to it is I go to groups. And now that I am in groups, I'm going to go to my groups, and I'm going to go to this Lord of the Ring group. Now you see here, there's nothing here. So I'm just a member of this group. And as a member of this group, I've been assigned certain options, certain ways that I can do things, but I don't have access to do everything. There's a number of things that I can't do. And so first let me clarify. When we're talking about members of a collaborative inbox group, basically that is the same as the people who currently have the credentials to check an email box that you are working in. And so, for instance, in a group forum, a member is anybody that can see your post. But in a collaborative inbox, these are the people that can answer and see the questions and the emails that are coming in. And so, so that's a little bit different. One of the clarifying things that will help you is to remember that groups were originally created as a web forum. And actually, they're originally created as a web forum for the consumer accounts, so for a personal account, and so you have, topics about all sorts of different things. But so as you see the way that things are labeled, they're labeled based on that kind of idea. And so there is a little bit of vocabulary to learn in order to kind of make this switch. And so let me go over a couple of those vocabulary words. One of them is topic. You see here, a topic is the same thing as a message in your email. Because the way that we are using groups here, the way that we are using a collaborative inbox is actually as, the way that we're trying to use a collaborative inbox, sorry, I got to take a question here that somebody is texting me about trying to get in. Karen, you can see the screen, but you cannot hear anything at all. There's a couple of different options that may be going on. Let me see. Yeah, I want to apologize for those of you that can hear the background noise. The place that I am doing my seminars from ended up being really loud, but I'm traveling, so I didn't have another location option handy. So sorry about the background noise. Hopefully when I'm talking, you won't be able to hear it. It won't be too distracting. All right. Okay. So hopefully that will help the the different issues. Let's come back here to the topic at hand. So remember that these are web forums, but how we are using it is just like an inbox. It's email messages. It's messages that you're responding to. It's not a topic, but the way that the collaborative inbox the way that the collaborative inbox is going to talk about it is, in the same way as the web forum. And so let's translate in our mind. A new topic is a message. It's an email message that has come in, or an email message that you sent. And so that is what a topic is. And so let's say if I do a new topic, and then when I'm in a new topic, when I post something, that's the same as sending an email message. So posting is sending, topics are messages. That's one thing that will help you as we move forward. And so another thing just to remember that some of the things that are on here, they don't really apply to us because we're using this as an in-house collaborative inbox, and the same settings are available to people that would be using this with thousands and hundreds of thousands of people, and so they might ban people, they might do things. So just kind of keep that in mind as we go when you're looking at tabs that don't quite make sense to you. All right, so we are here, and this again is in a collaborative inbox that I am a member of, and the things that I can do as a member right now are limited. I can see the messages in the inbox. I can also then work with one of the messages. So I'm going to open this message here. And as you can see, it's organized just like your email. All of the message is in a message thread. And so they're all going to be together there. The most recent one is on the bottom. And so we've got lots of replies. And so there's a couple things that I could do. I could set that there's no action needed for this message. I could say, hey, this is a duplicate. We've already had this discussion, answered this somewhere else, and this is just a second thread, so I'm going to set it as a duplicate. I could also reassign it, and so I can assign it to somebody in to somebody else in the group. So I am going to assign this to Bilbo. Actually, I'm going to assign it to Frodo. All right. So now you can say it was. Now you see it was assigned to Frodo Baggins by me, and so those are the things. So these are kind of some of the general parts. Then if I wanted to come down and I want to post a reply, I can, in the same way, whatever message I want to reply to, I just reply to right here, just like your email, and I can reply right here, and I can choose, as you see, I'm replying here as me. So as a member, I don't have the settings to be able to reply as the group, to reply by the email address. I can also choose who's getting this message. I am sending it to the people that were originally part of the message, but I can choose to add others if I would like. And so I'm just going to send this message to Frodo. So I'm just going to send that this thread has gotten way out of hand, and I am going to post it. And I could also mark it as complete. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to say it's completed. So those are just some of those are some of the things. One of the things you'll notice about Google as you start using it is that they're constantly improving and moving things forward. And so then things change. This menu is actually completely different than it was just 2 days ago. So that part's lovely. Sorry, I'm chatting with someone. Sorry. Sorry, I'm getting lots of questions that are technical help, so I'm trying to kind of do that. Okay. Okay. So those are some of the things that we can do in here. We can reassign, like I said, we can do some of those. We also have actions up here. And there's not a whole bunch of them because I'm a member. And so just as a member, I don't have the ability to do a ton of different actions set for me. I can add some tags if I wanted. And so I could say this one is about reunion. And so I'm going to add that tag in. And so now if I go back, and you see here, this one is completed, because remember I marked it as completed. It's assigned to Frodo Baggins. This is how many posts were in it. This is the last thing in it. And if I look at it, I can choose to look at the tags. And so let's say I just want to look at the reunion tags. I can look at just those tags. So see, I tagged it with reunion. I could look at just topics, at members, about. So those are some of the different viewing options that I have. And then up here are my settings. There's not a whole lot of them, but those are some of my settings. So those are kind of some of the things that I can do with an individual message as a member. And then I also come up here and I'm going to go, oops, didn't want to do that. I am going to go back to the group. Oops. I'm going to go back to the group, and I can also then, instead of looking, let's say there's lots and lots and lots of messages. And so as you see all the messages in here, instead of looking at messages that way, I could also filter them. And so there's so many different choices of different ways that I could filter them depending on what I want to do. And so, let's say I just want to look at all the things that are assigned to me. So I'm going to look at that. I'm going to apply the filter. And there we go. And so I just had 2 things assigned to me, and they are both completed. Let's say alternatively, I would have only wanted to see the things that were assigned to me that were not completed. Now, for some reason here it says unresolved, but it's the same thing. So now you can see I don't have anything. So let's say I'm a member, and my job is just to come in, answer the things that are assigned to me, and that's it. And so that's all I would do, is I would come into this filter, and I would answer the things that are assigned to me, and I would look at this filter, and then I would be done. And that would kind of be my role in this group. But let's say I had a larger role in the group. Actually, let me show you one more thing before I go on to the larger role in the group. When I was here on my groups, and I go to Lord of the Rings group, so now I have the filters on. Let's clear all my filters. Oh, I love it when they first change things, because now I can't find anything that was all here like 2 days ago. So here on the Lord of the Rings group, I should be able to at some point create my email settings. So maybe it's edit memberships. So in Lord of the Rings group, here's my membership. I can choose to say I don't want to receive any email. I just want to receive an email that says, hey, here's a few things. I want to receive a digest email or all email. And so this is one way to manage, do you want to actually come in here to this web interface and answer messages here, or do you want things sent to your personal inbox and then you'll deal with them there? So those are a couple of different choices and options that you have. And then I can also choose what my membership looks like within those people. So I'm going to go ahead and stop at that point and take a couple of questions. So let me come back over here to Fuse and go ahead and go ahead and put in your chat question. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and unmute you, and you can ask your question. All right, so Patrick asked, is this how ITG's help email will work? Okay, sorry guys, there's too much background noise. I'm going to go ahead and mute all. So we'll just do questions through chat. So Patrick, so what I had said at the beginning, and you might not have caught it, is that I kind of explained some of the different groups this might work for and how it would work. And so basically what I said was, for now, just learn how this group works, and then we will have a conversation about how we're going to determine what your particular email address group is going to be turned into. If it will be turned into this collaborative inbox, if it will be turned into a regular email, if it will be turned into an email alias. So Helen, I do have it set to everyone. People, when you ask a question, go ahead and make sure that down on the bottom that it's set to go to everyone so that everyone can see each other's chat questions. If you have it set just to go to me, then nobody else can see it. I have it set so that things go to everyone. Okay, so Tamara, similar question. Is this an in-house group only? Basically, the way, as I was saying, the members of this group are the people that can get on and answer and ask questions. But there is then a different place where you can determine who can ask questions, who can send emails. So there's definitely a setting where anyone in the world can send emails, or where only people in Cru can send emails to this. Okay, so you guys can't check everyone. Let's see if I have a place to, yeah, mine is set to everyone, and I'm sorry, I don't know how to change that. It must be because we're in webinar mode. Let me try this, see if the setting is here. Yeah, I apologize, guys. I don't know how to change it, so I will just try to repeat all the questions that I get. So, anyway, so members refers to who can answer the questions, not who can email into the inbox. There's a setting for people to email into the inbox. So, other questions? Is the domain always cru.org? You can only create yourself as a user. You can only create ones with the domain cru.org. However, the ones that ITG creates for you, or the ones that ITG creates for you, or the ones that are migrated over, those will move over with whatever domain they currently have and all the different aliases that are associated with it. Okay, so I just want to say again, I'm going to talk at the end about moving. And so I know some of you joined late, so let me repeat that. I'm going to talk at the end about moving and how we're going to determine that and what's the process. I understand and know that that's what your burning questions are. But it's hard for you to understand the do you want to become a collaborative inbox question when you don't even know what a collaborative inbox is. So first, let me teach you what a collaborative inbox is, how it works, how you'll use it, and then at the end of the class, we'll talk about moving. Okay, so let's hold the questions about moving, about what that will look like, about what the process is until at the end of class. So Helen asked, will responses go to our inbox in Cru Mail? Let me show you that. So the way that I was set up for here is I am, like I said, in this particular group, I am a member. And so I can only send as myself. So when I posted a reply, my only option here is by me. And so what's going to happen when I send that email? Um, let's see where it was. Okay, it didn't come to me. Oh, because I only sent it to Frodo. But what's going to happen, like when I send the email here, is that you see it came from Gandalf and then it went to everyone. So this was an email that Gandalf sent from the group. So it came from Gandalf and it went to everyone. So if I just replied, I am only replying to Gandalf. If I had replied all, I would be replying to everyone, including the group, and so it would go back to the group. So, so if you are a member and you choose to, and I'm going to show you all the different ways that you can change the settings of what members can do. So you're not locked into this. But if somebody can only send as themselves, and they email, a donor, and that donor replies all, it will go back to that person's email address and to the group's email address. But if they only reply, it will just go back to that person's Cru mail address. It will not go back to the group. So that's actually an important distinction to make on how you want to set up your collaborative inbox, on if you want messages to come out of the group domain or if you want them to all stay in the group domain. So I will show you how to set those up as we get into owning a box. Okay? Any other questions on that before I move on to some of the more, that was just kind of the basics. That's just the how to reply, how to do some basic filtering, and we'll definitely move on from here to a lot more. All right. So now, Scott asked, can we use labels? So here, tags are the same thing as labels. So it's just, for some reason in groups, it's called tags. It's the exact same thing as a label. So you can, up here I chose to put this tag on called reunion, and you can put tags called, you can create all sorts of different tags and then search by those tags like I did just a minute ago. All right, okay, so I'm going to move over to a group now that I own. So I'm going to go back to the same Lord of the Rings group, and now you see here it says that I'm an owner. And so I'm going to go ahead and go back to that group. And now you see I have a little bit of a different screen. Now I have tags, manage, members about. So manage is a new button. And so as an owner, yes, there can be many owners of a group. An owner is not just one person. It is the original creator, but then you can add as many owners as you want. And so I'm going to explain in just a few minutes the difference between members and managers and owners and how to set those the way that you want them to be. So, so I'll get to that. Let's press pause on that, but I just want you to see what it's like. So now I'm in this same message that I was in, but now I can see it a little bit differently. Right now, while I'm here, I can, when I post a reply, now I can choose to post a reply as me or post on behalf of the group. So when I post on behalf of the group, here, let's see, I am going to send this. Sorry, I'm having, okay, I'm gonna, let me discard this and try again. All right, post a reply. Okay, so when I post on behalf of the group, now when I send this, it is going to show up as just from Lord of the Rings group. So let me show you what that looks like. Does everyone, oh, I see what the problem is. I'm sorry, I got a little lost there. here, Pippin, I'm going to reply. And so now here's all the different people that it's going to. And so I am going to put all, and I'm going to add Arwen. And I'm going to post on behalf of, and then I'm going to say, see how this looks different. So let me post this or send this, and now I'm going to go over here to my email and show you what it shows up like. Okay, it's taking a while for the emails to come in, but down here at the very bottom, now it shows Lord of the Rings group. So see here, it didn't show from me, it showed from Lord of the Rings group. So if I reply to it, the only option is to reply back to the group. So that's one of those, that's kind of a main difference on if you're sending on behalf of the group or sending as yourself. Okay? Some other things, actions that you can do is, again, mark no action needed. You can display something at the top, so you can, if you display it at the top, it will, back here, it will keep it up at the top of the list of all the different messages. One of the other actions was, I'll just take you through them. You can take a topic, you can assign a topic, you can drop a topic, you can mark no action needed, unmark that, you can display it at the top. You can lock the replies. You can also lock the whole topic. So lock a reply would be just to one of those individual messages, and then lock a topic would be to everything. Let me come back over here to chat. And then again, here's some of them. Ban author. Well, obviously, the people that are in here are people that are supposed to be answering emails, so you're not going to ban an author. That's kind of one of those that you don't do. But those are the different actions that you can do. And then here's some of the different filters. You can filter things that are not replied to or that are orphaned, and in the settings you can set something that if nobody takes an email within the first, within such and such a time, it's listed as an orphan. And so once it's listed as an orphan, you could go in and see all of those that nobody took. You can look at all of the discussions that you're a part of, that you started, that you replied to. You can look at all the things that are completed, that are all resolved, that have no action needed, that are duplicates. You can look at things that are unassigned to anybody, assigned to me, assigned to a specific person, the last time they were modified. The first post was within a specific time, and then you can do any sort of mix and match between all of these, and you apply selective filters, and it will keep that filter until you clear it. So that's different ways to look at things depending on what you're doing. So let's look at this one. Now this one you can see, I could take it, I can assign it, and then I have these other options too. So if I take it, now it's assigned to me. Or I could have reassigned it. I could have assigned it to somebody else. So I'm going to assign this to Elrond. And so now it's assigned to Elrond. So now if I go up here to the filter, sorry, I got to be back here. If I go to filters and I look at all things assigned to somebody else, apply the filter, then now you see over here, this one was assigned to Elrond. All right? So those are kind of some of just the basic, the basic ways that the group works. I'm going to get into talking about all the different ways you can set up the group so that you can do different things, and different people have certain rights and other people don't, and all of those types of things. But that's just the basic how you answer, how you filter your email. And so so some different settings that you could think about. Maybe you have one person is kind of in charge of the inbox, and so they're in charge of assigning people messages, and then they're all the other people in the inbox, their only job is to come in and to answer the messages that they're assigned. But maybe you have a different kind of setup, and it's a free-for-all box. Everyone just comes in, they see all the messages that aren't assigned to somebody, and they take those messages. Or they take the messages that they can answer. And maybe they kind of go, oh, so-and-so would be best at answering this, so I'm going to assign to them. So you could set it up that it could do that. You can set it up lots and lots of different ways, and that is what I'm going to do next. But those are kind of some of the basic ways that you respond, that you post new emails, and what that looks like. So I'm going to answer one question that was asked a little bit, and then go ahead and ask questions, but let's just ask questions about just the stuff that I've covered, clarifying the things that I've covered. All right, so as you might be typing your question, Becky asked, does Google Groups replace groups in contacts? So as I started out the session saying, there are 4 different types of groups. Collaborative inbox is one type of group. Another type of group is the group that you see in your contacts, and that's a distribution list group. And so distribution list group works just basically the same way that your distribution lists work in Microsoft Exchange, and it's just one of 4 kinds of Google groups. So this kind of collaborative inbox group doesn't replace that kind of group. It's just a different kind of Google group. All right, does anybody have any other questions? Okay, great. I'm going to move on to the settings. So one of the things that I want to stress here is that there are so many different ways that you can set up these groups. I have only begun to explore the different ways that you can set it up, and you'll see what I mean as we get into it. But so I will do my best to answer your questions of can it do this or can it do that, but most often I'm going to give you the answer. I haven't found a way that it can do that. And actually, like I said, Google is constantly changing and improving things. This setup is actually completely different than it was a week ago. Not in a way that you can't understand it, but in a way that's just actually way easier to navigate, but it took me just a second to get used to it. So we're going to come down here to this Manage button, and we are going to click on Manage. And so the first thing that we get to over here in the left is our members. And this first list is just a list of all the members of our group. And here we can actually manage an individual member. So I'm going to choose Arwen, and it tells me her role, her email. It tells me the settings that she has for email delivery, and it tells me the settings that she has in terms of being able to post or send a message from the group. I could save, I could change these, I could remove her. And then I'm just going to go back to everybody. So that is simply the members. Now the next button down is invite members. Again, this is kind of more for a consumer account when you're giving people the option of whether or not they want to be a group or a web forum. But that's not what you're doing in Google in collaborative inboxes. In collaborative inboxes, the members are the people that are supposed to be in this group answering emails, answering messages. So you're actually probably not going to do invite, you're actually going to do direct add. And when you do direct add, you're just going to, enter in the email addresses of the people that you want to be members to this group. You can give them a welcome message, and then you can determine what you think they should do. Now, some of this is going to be, norms within your team and within how you guys want to, how you guys want to work as a team. If you want to say that, no, let's not do this through our emails. We want everybody to come on to the web because then you can see what other people have said. It allows you to really work with the group much more effectively. So that's going to be our norm. But you can choose, what you want your norms to be. The person's email subscription options actually, I think, from all I can tell, they actually override the ones that you set. And then here are outstanding requests and requests to join. And so again, those are ones that would be if you had invited them. Jim, I will go ahead and try to answer that. I actually don't use GCX groups, so it's hard for me to answer that. Jim asked, would this replace a GCX group? So again, as far the GCX groups that I've been a part of were all more like web forums. And, the determination for each individual ministry on, are they going to start moving things like GCX or like other project sites over to groups is just going to really, kind of be something we work out as we go and something that individual leadership teams and ministries are going to have to figure out what they want to do. Our mandate was that everybody needs to move their email and calendar over here, but how you use docs, how you use groups is going to be probably an evolving process and not necessarily, one. But I think that to the extent that I've used GCX group, I think that these would work very well. So Helen asked, is there a way to know what type of group it is when it's listed in the Groups tab? So are you talking about on your individual email contacts? Or where? Oh, you're talking about here in my groups. That's where you're talking about, right? Right here? Okay. I don't know that there is a way to tell what kind of group it is. Basically, let me explain this a little bit more. Basically, the way that groups work differently is the settings that you create. And so when you create a new group and you say, I want this group to be a collaborative inbox, Google will automatically set a whole bunch of settings it will automatically set a whole bunch of settings in certain ways, but then you can go in and change those settings. So that's, I think, why it doesn't list what type of group it is. Let's go ahead and hold questions because a lot of you guys are kind of getting ahead of yourselves, which I totally understand, but it will make more sense when I show you some of these things rather than try to answer the individual questions. So let me go back to the group that I was on. And then I'm going to go to Manage. And let me walk through all of these different settings. So these were our members settings. So again, members are the people that can get on, they can look, they can answer emails in your collaborative email box. I'm actually going to skip down now to roles because understanding roles helps you understand the rest of it. The three different types of roles that it has is owner, manager, and member, and you can have as many different people in each type of role as you desire. Once you click on a role here, you can name that role, you do a description, you say who are the different members that are part of this group. You can add members as owners, and then here you can change the permissions. So this is where you're going to set up, okay, an owner of a group can do this. And the permissions that are listed here are the same in all three roles. But as you notice, some of them are checked and some of them aren't. And so you can change those different permission levels for all three roles as you desire. And so you can determine what an owner can do, what a manager can do, what a member can do. Google says this is what we think an owner should be able to do, a manager should be able to do, and a member should be able to do. But you can customize it to fit your needs and your workflow situation. So I'm going to go through and talk through some of these permissions. You know, some of it is just the access. Can they contact the owners of the group? Filtering, viewing members. Then there's all these different settings for postings. Can they add references? Can they assign a topic? Can they attach a file? Can they enter a freeform tag? So there's a place where you can say these are the tags we're going to use, and you can decide if people can add to those tags or if they can only use the tags that you've set up. Mark favorite reply on a topic. So on the topics, one of the options are that you can choose for people to vote. This is all the favorite reply. Posting an announcement. An announcement basically goes up to the top and it stays up at the top, and it's basically saying, you know, hey, everybody in the group pay attention to this. If they can reply to an author, if they can reply to a closed topic. You could set up your group so you have moderators so that, you know, maybe you have a lot of people in there, but only certain people can kind of do all the final types of things. So these are all the different things that a moderator could do. All right, so those are all the different permissions. So, for instance, the permission post as the group. You could make it so that all owners and managers and members could post as the group, or only an owner or only a manager. You can determine what it is that you need to do with this group. So if I click out of here and I go back, and I'm going to click now on members, and I'm going to go down to permissions. Again, it's the exact same list, but as you notice, it takes a lot of those things out. And again, you can change this to make it however you want it. So those are the different roles. Let's go ahead and ask questions about roles. Anybody have any questions about the roles? All right, well, I'll go ahead and move on. Tamara, I'm going to answer your question. Are these seen publicly to all staff within Cru? You can set it either way. And so I'll go ahead and move on and show you now the different settings and show you how that works. So now that first you have to determine your roles, because all your other settings are going to be based on roles. So after you've determined your roles, then you're going to come up here and you're going to determine your settings. So right here we have email options, and this is the options that will for posting, basically what it looks like when you post a message. So if you noticed, I made it set so that all messages that came from this group started with this Lord of the Rings. And that is really helpful so that if people are getting these emails, if members who are answering the emails are getting these, then they can automatically know, hey, this one's coming from the group. Somebody emailed into the group and that's why it's coming to me. It's got some instructions about their suggestions on how you would do that. Then down here you can choose, and most of these again are more for web forms, but you can say, you know, how to post to the group, how to unsubscribe, the URL web page, and opt out, and then you can add a custom footer. So a lot of people have asked about signatures, and there really isn't a signature option. that is different from your own signature option. So if you want a signature option from the group, this is probably where you would paste that in. You can say a user decides where their replies are sent to the entire group. So this is the people that are answering the emails. Is the reply going to go to the entire group, to the author only, to the owners, to the managers? Each user decides where it goes, or use a custom address. So you can set that here in the settings. You can set some other things here too. Identity. You can choose that people can make a display name only, or they can use their organizational profile, or they can do both. And you can choose that every display name must be unique, so that way if you have 2 Phils on your team, both of them can't just put Phil, they have to put their last name so you know who's doing what. You can choose your moderator settings, that moderators moderate all messages, or only from new members, or only from non-members. You can choose what the moderator settings are. And then again, new members is, that's probably more for a forum than it really is for this setting. But and then tags, here's where you can determine how many tags a certain topic or message has. You can require somebody to enter a tag. You can create a tags. And so then again, if you created tags here, but then you disabled people's ability to create a free-form tag, people could only use the tags that you created. And then categories, they're basically the same thing as tags, and you can only do one or the other. So I don't really quite understand why they have categories. We're going to go down to permissions. And this is a little bit of where you're seeing who can view the topics. And so only managers, all the members, everyone within Cru, or anyone. So you can change that. Now again, for a web forum, it's probably going to, it's either going to be all organization members or anyone. But for a collaborative inbox, you probably want, you probably want it to just be the members and the managers. Posting, you can select who can post. Again, anyone, owners, managers, members, everyone in Cru. And then here you can select who can join. Anyone, only invited users, anyone in Cru can ask. And so again, this is a collaborative inbox. It's really a small group of people that are members. You're just going to have the invited users. So Jim Green asked, can anybody... does a member have to be on Gmail or any email service? I believe that a member would have to be on Gmail. But, actually I will say I am not 100% sure on that. You might test it out from another address. All right, posting permissions. So this again goes through all the different who can add references, assign a topic, attach files, enter freeform tags, all these different types of posting. You can decide, can only members do that? Can only managers? Can anyone do that? You can go through and each one customize it. Moderating, the same thing. And then who can access it? The same thing. So there's lots of different ways to customize this to work exactly how you want. Information down here is, this is going to be again the general information for that group. This is the directory. This is where you're going to choose, can other staff see this in the directory or not? And so Tara, where you said, is this seen publicly to all staff within Cru? If you choose to list it in the directory, it is. If you choose not to, then it's not. You can subscribe to groups. You can, here's where you decide when a post is orphaned. You also decide about archives. Now, here's the thing. Messages that are not archived will only be accessible online for a limited period of time. And so if you want to keep your messages all the time, you need to click archive. You need to come in here and click that. And then there's a couple more advanced. Okay. So Tara asks, on the post setting, is that referring to responding to emails sent to the inbox or just sending emails into the inbox? So posting is sending from the inbox. So when you post a message, you're sending from the inbox. I know that's confusing because a member that would post to the web forum would be posting into the inbox, but you have to kind of think about it. So your Google group, your collaborative inbox has an email address, and anybody can email that email address just like normal. Those emails are going to come into this group, to this collaborative inbox as topics, as messages like we saw before. And then you can post replies to those topics. If I was a member and I posted a new message, again, it's only members that can post the message. Anybody else can email a message in, but only members can post the message. So I could send a message from a group as a member by posting the message. I hope that makes sense. I know it's a little bit confusing. All right, other questions on this part? All right, so I know that was a very, very quick flyby of what a collaborative inbox is, but the main purpose of it is to give you enough of an idea to determine if you want your shared inbox to be turned into a collaborative inbox. So I know it's 12:30, but if you could stay with me for just a couple more minutes so that I can really explain this well on what the process will be for determining what your current shared inbox will be turned into. Collaborative inbox is one of the options, and the great thing about collaborative inbox is that it is designed for a number of people to be in an inbox answering messages. That is what it's designed for, and as you see all the different permissions and postings, it's designed so that you can really create it to really fulfill the purpose that you want. For Go Google at cru.org, for that email message that most of you have emailed at some point or another, we didn't really even know about collaborative inboxes at the time, so we made it just a normal email address. And I can't tell you how often I wish that we would have created it this way. I think it would have been really, really helpful, just as I've experienced trying to have 5 different people answering messages within that inbox. I think it would be really helpful if we would have had it this way. One of the hard things, one of the drawbacks to collaborative inboxes is that it is very difficult to get all of your old mail, all the mail that you currently have in your shared inbox, your current one that exists, into this new collaborative inbox. It's a very manual process. And it's a very time-consuming process for the tech team. And what will happen is basically it will just look like this. There will just be a whole bunch. Anything that you've sent, anything that you have filed, it won't be filed anymore. It won't be in any sort of order. It will just come in this really long list. And so again, they're constantly improving, so hopefully in the near future they'll have a great way to move things over and turn lists or turn folders into labels just like they do in email, but currently that is not the case. And so one of the things that you might want to do is PST or archive your current information and just store it somewhere. And then kind of start afresh here on this Google group. We know that and understand that that's not ideal, but we think that you'll enjoy it more because, like I said, everything's just going to come in this really long list. But if you are in a situation that you really need that data to continue being available to everyone in order to continue using the inbox, then we can move it over for you. Again, it's a very time-consuming process, so please don't just say that just because it kind of be nice, but because you actually really, really need it. Another option is just to keep it as an email address. one of the differences in Google is that we actually pay per email address. And so that's just something to consider. Is this really, do you need it to be an email address enough that it's worth paying for the email address? And if the answer is yes, then that's okay. It can be an email address. Again, Google has designed collaborative inboxes to be the place that they are continually improving to be a better and better solution for sharing an inbox. They are never going to improve their normal regular email accounts to be better as a shared inbox, because that's not their solution for shared inboxes. Collaborative inboxes is their solution. And so if you choose it to be an email inbox, but you're still using it as a shared inbox, you kind of need to go in knowing that. Now the great part is you'll get all of your old archives, and all of those things will just all of your old messages that are in that box will move over. But it's never going to become easier. All of the ways of operating that you have used, foldering and those types of things to manage a shared inbox, you've used because you had to come up with a system, a workflow system in that tool. And my suggestion is, and my strong advice is that this is a great time to relook at your workflow process and look at the strength of the Google tools and decide what will work for your future, rather than just trying to say what's going to work exactly the same way as our current process. So that's just a piece of advice. The third thing that you can do is you can change your email inbox into an alias. And so if you are the only person that checks it and it's just kind of, a bunch of emails come in to you, you can make it an alias. So those will just automatically go to your email. You could create a filter so that it won't go into your inbox. It would go into a specific filter, or it go into a label. And then we can add a nickname. It's something the tech team has to do, but we can add a nickname to your account so that you could reply as that alias, or you could reply as yourself. So that is a third option. So all of the inboxes that we believe are not people's individual personal inboxes have been sent a survey, and in that survey it's going to ask, what do you want to do with your inbox? Again, if you've already filled out that survey but this class has helped you to come to a different conclusion, just go ahead and go back in and fill it out again. If you have not filled out the survey, please go in, check your spam, see if it's in there, and fill out the survey. If you go in and check your spam and it's not there, email gogoogle@cru.org and let us know that, and then we can send you the survey. Basically, we're going to take the results of the survey. It's it's like 4 questions. We're going to take the results of the survey, and then we are going to then determine what to do with those boxes. And we'll do it in conversation with you. If we need further conversation to determine what to do, then we'll contact you. We're not going to move these inboxes over from Outlook until we have let you know what we're going to do it. Helen Davidson just asked, if I understand correctly, if an email comes into her Cru mailbox, she can just forward it to the collaborative inbox so others can respond or assign. Helen, that is correct. When you forward it, now when they respond, they have to remember to look down and see who to respond to rather than just responding to you. But yes, that is correct. You could do that. Okay, so do I have other questions about either how collaborative inboxes work or about the process of determining what to move your shared inbox account to? All right, it's very quiet. Any other questions? Jim Green said, if we received a survey on our emails, does that mean they will not be transferred over this weekend? We had kind of a crazy mix-up happen in our MailChimp account. some people's personal email addresses, so like Jim, I think yours is ccci.org or Jesus Film. But like for instance, you may have also had a jim.green@cru.org and you had two in our MailChimp account. And we're not quite sure how or why that happened. But then the second one didn't get attached to a migration list. And so when we sent out this email to everybody that didn't get attached to a migration list, it went to that. And so that created a lot of confusion, and we apologize for that. But if you look at the second email that you received about filling out that survey, Jim, it tells you what email address it's referring to. So if it's referring to your personal email address, most likely you just had two entries in MailChimp, but you can email GoGoogle@cru.org to get that cleared up and make sure that you know, but I'm sure you're transitioning this weekend. However, if you got this because you're, referring to Jesus Film donors at jesusfilm.org, or some other email address, that email address will not transition over this weekend, and people will continue to respond and answer in Outlook just as they've been until we determine how to move the email over. Does that clarify that? All right, I'm not seeing any more questions come in. I'll give it just another minute. So Tamara, the way that we will get more info is by you filling out that survey. So if you don't have that survey, email gogoogle@cru.org and they will send you the survey. But that's how we're gonna do that. Yeah, if you feel like your answers have changed, Tamara, since you filled out the original survey, you can go back and fill it out. We've actually expanded the survey since the original time we sent it out, as we've learned more about the different options and the ways that they work. All right, everybody. Well, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Thanks so much for listening in, and I hope that it was helpful. I'm actually really excited. I think that these are going to be a lot better options than the way that we've been doing shared inboxes. So I'm excited. Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Jim. I appreciate it a lot, and glad that the trainings have been helpful for you. All right, I'm going to sign off, everybody. Thank you.